You want an investment edge, but all you hear is noise, hype, and half-truths. Every signal is solid information, but only if you can see the bigger picture. This is where the Quasar magic happens. Weather, charts, news, all financial signals, funneled into a single dashboard. Data alone isn't enough. Quasar Markets turns it into energy, sharp, clear, precise. Optimize with Quasar Markets today, your edge when investing.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. How is everybody doing on this lovely hump day? I'm here with BigBeat riding shotgun from the jump. Markets are trying to shake off yesterday's tariff tantrum. Powell sounded friendly at a cut. Yield slid, and gold just printed a brand new all-time high. Yes, again. Banks are out with strong numbers. Semis are humming on guidance. And we've even got cattle futures stampeding. File that under things I didn't expect to move my portfolio this year. BigBeat, how are you feeling this morning, my friend?
I think everything you just said, we've been talking about it for over a month now, including cattle futures. I mean, if corn prices are going up, if we're having problems with the farmers in the Midwest, guess what? Cattle prices go up. It's not hard to understand this, that tariffs don't work. And it's starting to hit. What was interesting this morning was I was listening to, I'm still listening to a little bit, is Scott Bassett talking this morning about how AI is going to affect us and how that Canada and the United States are effectively having trade talks again, which is good. But he just said something that really got me. And he said that we don't care about the stock market. We're more interested in the China trade talks. We're not going to, we don't care about the stock market. Well, I'm concerned that that's a statement out of the Treasury Secretary's mouth. I get that they're not.
And at the same time that he said the government shutdown is costing us $15 billion a day.
Yeah, and $15 billion a day in the grand scheme of things is a drop in the. It's a drop in the ocean, right? It's a sand on a beach, right? It's sand grain on a beach. $15 billion doesn't even equate to a second. $15 billion is one missile, right? So to tell you that that's word salad on a level Kamala Harris can't even handle. I don't think. Look, I get it, and I understand what's happening here, but you got to think about it from the next perspective here. What's really going on here? And there's just some major breakdown in Washington, and we're seeing it now, and we're seeing the White House taking some serious leverage here. And I'm concerned here. I'm really concerned here. Things could not move on.
Yeah. But with that being said, futures are green. S&P minis up roughly 2/3%. Nasdaq's outpacing that, up over a percentage. VIX cooled a touch from yesterday's spike, but still elevated. So it's not all clear. It's less fog, maybe. 2-year yields hovering near 3.48, the 10-year around 4.01. After Powell's remarks nudged cut odds higher. So higher for October 29th and even December. The dollar's softer, though. So Mr. Flanagan will be on in a little bit to talk about that. Tailwind for risks and metals. If you like beta, this is your kind of morning. Steve, softer dollar and lower rates, does that give growth the green light out there?
No, not one bit. Not when you have an administration that's not got together. You have I'm not trying to be hard as an administration. They've done some good things in the last few weeks, but they're still going the wrong direction. And we have a Fed that's really lost. You saw yesterday Powell talk about it. We don't know what to do here. We see that, finally, for the first time, the Fed saying unemployment. Well, labor's an issue. Yeah, we know, pal. We understand. We've been saying it for a while. Why are you doing it? Because they don't have data, right? They're quote data dependent. They don't have the data. The data they're getting now is from the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg, which is probably better data than they're getting in the regular government. So I'm excited about that, at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. What are you thinking here? Gold at, sorry, I lost my place. 41.87. 41.87. Silver 52.61.
Yeah, silver hit 53 this morning. You know how I feel about silver. I'm there. I'm happy. Yeah. And as much as I want to sell my silver, I just can't pull the trigger on it. Now that's probably a bad thing for me because You know, most people know I'm very early a lot of times on that. I'm gonna show you real quickly. Apple just came out with a new iPad Pro this morning here. I don't know if you had I don't know if it's one of your things, but just came out with it, as well as the new MacBook. I don't know, Howard. There's a lot going on right now that I just can't put my finger on, and it seems that the chaos is starting to really seep into a lot of places now, and that chaos is really starting to bother people. Scott Bissett said something very interesting again, and we have to listen to him because he is the adult in the room in a lot of ways, right? Secretary of Treasury. This is a guy who's made billions of dollars himself, right? He's a smart man, knows what's going on, understands the connections, right? And I understand he has a good right hook as well, as he's punched a few people in the Oval Office. So I will say this much: he's standing his ground, and I like the fact that he's doing that. When you're looking at next level of investment here, and people are I mean, my phone blows up now about what do I do now, what do I do? Very simple to me. The economy is falling apart in front of our eyes. All right. It's not really, it's falling apart. We've said this for a while, and I think and I've had a lot of people now over the last month say, yeah, Steve, you were right. I didn't quite see it. It's right, because recession, as I always say, is when your neighbor loses their job. A depression is when you lose your job, right? People are now losing their own jobs, or they hate their own job, which is even worse, right? They hate their own job, but they can't leave because they're scared to move, right? That's a really bad thing, right? That's what this country's all about, right? It's the ability to move around the country, the ability to go find a job where you want to, the freedom. And that's going away, and people are not feeling good right now, Howard. So when I look at that side of it, I think that's the biggest mistake right here. It's happening. He mentioned a couple of things that I liked. He said AI, and he was asked twice, not once, twice, about jobs in AI. Is AI are they the ones the culprit for this? No, not yet, but expect the investment in AI to start biting in the second quarter of next year. I agree with that. He's right. I've said that this investment that these companies are making, NVIDIA, Apple, all these companies that are making these big investments in AI, and believe it or not, even Google finally is catching up now. Yeah, second quarter, and I think what you're going to see is, as this is training time for people who are not learning AI. If you're not learning AI right now, you're out of a job. Oh, I've got a job that's going to last. No, you're not. Every job in America is in trouble. I'm a plumber. Your job's in trouble, right? Because you might won't be able to move up because the management of your plumbing company is going to be managed by an AI. Oh, it will not. Yeah, it will be. In fact, probably already is. Your QuickBooks is already managed by AI. My QuickBooks already now.
Remember, one of the biggest investments private equity has made in the last 10 years is to consolidate and buy all the HVAC and plumbers and electricians and make them into mega, sort of versions of that. So private equity has already been all over
it. They know where it's going. Yep.
Yeah. Steve, I'm going to turn us around a little bit here. Big banks. I mean, banks are putting numbers on the board. Bank of America, $1.06 in earnings versus 95 cents expected. 28.24 billion in fees, 43% up. They nudged quarter four predictions higher. Stocks moving up on that. Morgan Stanley just raised their estimates.
Morgan Stanley came out, their earnings was 210. They came out with 280. I mean, that's a big beat, that's huge. But we talked about this. It's trading revenue, and it's what we said it's happening. Now, if people don't have jobs,
I'll stop you there because you called this, but this
bond market.
No, merger and acquisitions.
Mergers and acquisitions.
You're forgetting that's what's been so huge for some of these companies right now. You called it, but we both missed it on the other side of it. That's what's going to drive these banks. That's why you want to have J.P. Morgan right now. That's why you might want to have Goldman, because this merger and acquisition is going to be huge. And what our Secretary of Treasury just said, if you heard him, is they're partnering with these JP Morgan. You talked about how Jamie Dimon.
Hold on one second. Secretary of Treasury Bissett just said that the meeting with Xi Jinping is a go. I'm posting it now. There have been many outreach with China. So we will meet with China's He Lifeng. That's how I can't pronounce his name all the time. Before the Xi Trump meeting. That's who I said that they were probably looking at right now.
He said that he meets with he's going to meet with that person 3 times before the president.
3 times. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Meet, because that is the protocol every time. So,
yes, it is. That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, they say, okay, do we agree? Yes. Then they each go back and say, okay, well, now we want to change this. Then they each go back and say, now we want to change this. And then they finally say, okay, we're ready. You know, back to banks there, Steve. Zooming out, the street's telling us deal flow is back. Like I said, trading stayed lively, and importantly, it isn't falling off a cliff as fast as we feared, with yields drifting down. So, do we think that is there, you know, a silver lining? Can there be a softer landing?
The words that I heard this morning was QE. That bothers me. That means the government is preparing something. But that could mean farmers in the Midwest. It could mean stipulation checks coming out to everybody.
We're
because
talk about cooking oil in a little bit here.
I don't know what's happening here.
A few things in front of that one, but you know, Jamie Dimon did wave the yellow flag on corporate credit. He sees one cockroach and expects more. That had to do with the subprime auto lender Tricolor.
Talked about that. Yeah,
he lost a little bit of money on, or not him, but JP Morgan.
You can't afford your house. You can't afford your car. You lose your job.
Well, there was fraud with that one too, though.
There is a fraud. I agree with that. There is.
Tricolor. there was fraud.
You're still not paying. You're still not paying your lender. You're still not paying. You're paying your car off. Right. So
So, you know, that so there's there, Steve. The other thing that I heard today that I didn't realize, I mean, I knew, but when you put numbers to it, it makes you think too. And it's where, to me, where that stock market might have more legs than we give credit to, is that when it comes to consumer discretionary spending and that type of thing, the top 10% do more than 50% of it. So if the rich are going to continue to put money into the markets, and the rich are going to continue to put money into buying more stuff, they're going to hold these numbers up, and even, you know, the rest of us don't influence it.
All right, let's talk about that. The new numbers came out this morning, and I think I posted it in even our own Slack. I'll pull that number out again. Let's see if I get. I think it's like 10%. Yeah. Households in America own 40% of the stock market. So that's you're already, if you own stock, one share of anything, you're in the top 40% of America. Okay, that's concentrated into the hands of 90% of the concentration is in the top 10% of families. Right. So if your wealth is in your home and equities, you're in the top 10% of America, which means that we ain't doing so well as a major country, right? The split between the haves and the have-nots is getting wider and wider, and that is where problems happen, right? You can't live in a subdivision and hope to your house is going to be okay when people can't eat. I mean, you know, the last time it happened, the French Revolution, they got chopped their head off. So we don't want that, right? We need a concentration of wealth amongst everyone, not just in the top 10%.
Absolutely. Okay, I said we were going to get to it. We will. Cooking oil. Yes, we're actually talking used cooking oil in 2025. Headlines about curbing UCO imports from China have put that market into, you know, the news today. I can't believe we're talking about this, but
first question out of my mouth in 1987. First question out of my mouth when I was started to learn about the markets as a kid. I wanted to know what soybean meal was. Soybean meal, like, you don't want to know about like Disney stock or, you know, IBM. No, I want to learn about the commodity market, right? And the fact that I'm hearing about commodities that I haven't heard about since the 80s and the 90s, silver, these kind of things is shocking to me, but it was also pretends to tell you that the traders now are getting smarter and smarter, which is good. Finally, I'm feeling much better about the world. They're learning that the world isn't just about meme stocks and shit coins, right? It's about investing, right? Okay. Cooking oil. All right, let's talk about that. When you look at the large picture of oil in general, right? I'm going to say cooking oil. The largest supplier of that is palm oil, right? And that is out of Malaysia. So I expect the president to start making a move to something into the Malaysia area, Vietnam. Malaysia is the largest producer of palm oil. If we do start to, and people say, well, that's not going to happen. And it's already happened. Look at Coca-Cola asking them to change to sugar, to pure sugar, as opposed to getting as they have now, asking U.S. companies to change their habits as you know, is the cuckoo RFK Jr. whatever that is. It's changing. We need to understand that process, right? And how soybean oil, soybean mash, soybeans in that aspect, because soybeans now we no longer, the Chinese are not buying our soybeans, so we got to figure that out. They've got to change how we now are we going to, as a country, start to make bean oil? Sorry, that's inside baseball.
Well, we do. Oil. Archer Daniels is a couple of plays on this. ADM,
so ADM
Archer
does that.
Daniels Midland.
Right.
But
how many acres?
Only running at 50.6% of its daily capacity. So they
correct. They are. They can
capacity.
But how do you do it? How do you do it in September and October?
That part I don't know. The other one is Missouri-based Bunge Global is the other one.
So Bunge is the name of the company. Bunge is the largest holder of that. Bunge is where I'm from, and I can tell you there is no way that we can produce bean oil this fast. It has to be planted in March. There's a Southern Illinois part of me coming out of me, right? In corn, that planting is already done, and it needs a fallow field.
Well, but no one sold it. So I live across the street from a soybean field.
And how are the beans? I mean, I'm not in a bean field right now. How are the beans?
They're harvesting as we speak. Do
you know what the yield is on that? I'd like to have an ag person come in and talk to us about it.
Oh, I can get you one, but everything's been corn. Everything was pretty good because the drought, trimmed the crops, but they can't sell it, so there's no one to sell it to. So soybeans are a tough one because no one cares about the yield.
So let me share my screen here real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna. And I think this is really good. This is good education for a lot of people that are looking at this side of things. I love this website, AgWeb. If you don't know, it's agweb.com. Guys, go to it. We're going to start bringing them into, as well as a few other places, other companies bring into us. But I've noticed that right here in the midst, you can see soybean seed is a question mark. Wheat leads corn higher. Soybeans fade on China concerns, and a record Brazil crop. Soybeans might not be an issue here soon, as we might change who we buy our soybeans from. Now, we don't really want to buy them from Brazil. And I'm going to go down just a little bit farther so you can see.
It'd more be China would buy them from Brazil, right? Would be the
problem. That's correct. Yeah. And if they buy all of it from them,
53.6.
Is there enough soybeans for us to buy, and are we going to produce enough? That's a great question.
Yeah, yield, they're saying a record high estimate for the year.
So here's what the latest supply chain risks on the crop production outlook. There's like all of the, this is crazy amounts here that we are seeing, and I'm not going to go into because it's a lot for people right now. This is what they need to put onto the crops to make it go. And we're not seeing that right now. And I think yesterday I talked about this yesterday. I don't know if I can pull it up real fast. I'll stop the share here, but we talked about it from the perspective of used equipment in the farm equipment, and that's one of the biggest right now. So I am very concerned for farmers right now. I'm from that area, and I'm really worried about farmers, and there is no stopping it. This could be a really bad year for farmers.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, without a doubt there, without a doubt. So Steve, we are about 8 minutes from the open. Tick's been pretty positive all morning right now, up about 104, advanced decline up almost 3,000 here.
Yeah.
The NASDAQ set to open up more than 1 percentage point. The SPY up about 75 basis points, and the Dow set to open on the higher side. Also, what do you think? Is the morning the highs of the day, or what do we get today?
You know, it's interesting. Wolf Financial made a funny yesterday about how we're literally the S&P can go to 7,000 or 5,000. We're just waiting on what Trump's tweet is. You know, I don't, you know, I like volatility, but I like volatility that I understand, and this volatility I don't understand. It's literally sitting on a tweet, and the chaos is really affecting families now. And so we really got to understand what the process is here. And there's no process. And we're in the middle of October. It's now holidays, November, December. Is it going to be a good holiday? I will tell you that I think it will be. I'm going to change my tune a little bit, that it might actually be an okay holiday. It won't be a terrible holiday because Apple feels good enough to release products. The new MacBook, the new iPad Pro, obviously the watch, the new phones. So a company like Apple does refresh their stuff. I understand that. But the question mark has to be, do they feel good enough to do that with the supply chains that they have? And the answer is yes. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, that would be good to hear. That's a little bit of a change there for you, for sure.
Steve Flanagan now saying good morning, all, and it's we can throw a dart in the dark and hit a negative narrative. Time to breathe in the positives. I don't disagree with Steve. You know, he's right. I'm trying to find some silver linings. Bring them on, Steve. I'd like to see him, because right now, you know, you and I have been doing this 30 plus years. I'd love to see some of those positives. Good morning, Marilyn. Loving everybody coming in now. It's great. I want to see some positives. Now, if you have concentrated wealth and you've got major companies like Apple bringing in new products, and you've got AI coming in, you've got a massive shift, right? But it's still concentrated wealth, and we're not seeing that. And I really, you know, the flip of the president and the chaos has got to stop at some point, where his policies, if this is where he's going with it, all right, let's get to it, get done with it. Stop going after your people you hate, and go after real business. Start to understand and start to create economy that we need. That'll solve a lot of freaking problems real quick. Obviously, the debt of the United States is picked up. It's exploded. Is everybody here? Exploded, and that's what I'm worried about. When your major bank's biggest money maker is mergers and acquisitions, what I just said, that's a problem. Right. So let's talk about that, Steve. If you want to come on early, I'd love to have you on early if you can. But yeah. Bitcoin getting slammed again. There's a big short out there, Howard. What's going on, man?
What's that? Yeah. Well, no, he pulled that short off. That guy, I watched that happen yesterday.
We scared him enough.
That guy pulled the short off in a matter of about 5 minutes. It was interesting to watch on Hyperliquid because it's a decentralized exchange, so you can literally watch the account. Yeah, he made money on it, the short, and generally did it at the lows yesterday. So, but yeah, I think I don't know why. Listen, everybody knows who it was, Garrett Ginn, and you know, he claims it was for a client. So we'll see if that's the case. I'll actually be on Market Minds at Prosper today at 1 talking about what happened on Friday. So tune into Market Minds to see that. But yeah, you know, there was definitely some issues at Binance that need to get fixed that caused some more, you know, things. My question to you would be more, why are the crypto stocks up so much if crypto's down? I can't explain that disconnect.
I can't explain it either. I don't know. People don't realize that when you buy the stock, you buy the ETF, you're not buying the crypto. You know, you're buying the holder of the holder. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I like owning the actual stuff, right?
Yeah,
so
it's just, you know, but I guess, you know, unless it's just the speculation that eventually all of them will be data center suppliers because of the cheap energy, and AI companies will just overpay to get that, you know, overpay them to get that energy, because they have
reports now that President Trump will speak at 3:00 today Eastern Standard Time. So there you go.
That's never good for the market.
I hear first time
Well, it could be
Oracle,
great for the market. It could be either way. But that,
Oracle and Microsoft. Oracle is not collaborating with Microsoft to enhance supply chain efficiency. Now, I like that. We've talked about that a lot. Yeah.
there's a lot of good things going on. I mean, I fall in between you and Mr. Flanagan, as you know. I'm the moderate in the room that everybody hates. But there is a lot of good stuff. Supply chain. You have been negative on the manufacturing, but I do think manufacturing of certain things, supply chain of cooking oil and these other things can be moved back to the U.S. And if we really think AI is going to change how manufacturing is done, then it's about people who manage those machines, not jobs that you don't want to have. So, I look at the glass half full on that one personally. And I do think there'll be a lot of jobs in that as we remove supply chains back to the US. So I'm positive there. We are about 2 minutes from the open here, and tick is coming down a little bit here, right about 3,000 on advanced decline. Q's up 1%, as we said. SPY up 71 basis points. DXY back below 99. So again, unable to break out yet. We'll see what we get. Gold 41.94, making a move back up this morning again. Silver up 2.23%, pulling off, as Steve said, hit a high above 53 last night. Now trading at 52.56 with a natural pullback there. The other thing I noticed, Steve, is, again, what we're seeing is the moves. The retail seems to be very quickly, FOMOing in one way or the other. What I mean there is cyclically, Monday you'll have oil.
Okay. Real quickly, Secretary of Defense Hegseth now says, if no path to peace, U.S. will impose costs on Russia. Hegseth now says they're about to finish a trade deal with South Korea. News is coming in fast.
That they were moving along with India, so I will say that. But we've heard that before. India was supposed to be done.
Hegseth says that allies must turn words to action on weapon financing. Looks like we want to go to war with Russia. This could be pretty bad, guys. It is hitting Bitcoin a little bit here. Qs are dropping here a little bit on the back of that words.
Yeah, pretty big drop on the Qs right there.
Yeah.
Although I wonder also which. Oh, it's the opening. Oh, yeah. On the open at that news, yeah, we dropped down. First moves to the downside, back below VWAP here. Oh, I'm not sharing my. 603.30 here was as high as 613 a couple of days ago. So we are recovering from the lows of Friday that were 589. What I noticed with Bitcoin too, same thing, is it's right about in the middle about where it recovered so far. We do see Dow Jones opens up 45 basis points towards the highs of yesterday. So Dow Jones a little bit different of setup there. SPY up 70 basis points here, but its first move was to the downside. We have, like I said, the NASDAQ, the Qs trading up 88, but moving to the downside. I'm sure Steve's looking at Tesla because he can't not look at it. 436.
You know me too well there, brother.
I'm pumped up there. You're a little late on that one, huh? You needed to get that 438.80 there.
I tried. I just couldn't move fast enough there. I was talking too
now
much.
It's moving already to the downside. That's what we're seeing there. A little bit of a pullback again. That's what my fear was, is that, like yesterday, was the highs of the day, the pre-market, basically. Yesterday we did make one surge good leading into 10 o'clock, and then 10 a.m. was.
I now am long Tesla here.
Battling right at VWAP right now, pretty much. That huge wick making this candle look smaller than it is. We'll say tick is up about 200 here on the open. Advanced decline up 4,200 now. Dow Jones up 45 basis points. SPY up 67 basis points. and the Q's up 84 basis points. Small cap rotation seems to be the way, again, up 1.13% here today. So the rut has been outperforming here most of the others. So let's see what we get here today. Tick staying positive so far.
So I'm long Tesla. I think we'll just it showed you where the top's going to be today, so I'm okay with that. Bitcoin almost back to 112 there.
Yes, sir. That's what I was just about to click on.
Sorry, yeah.
Nice little move to the upside here. Nicely done there, Bitcoin. I do think you're going to revisit, as I've said, though, that 110 area.
Yeah, Qs are starting to push back up a little
Very
bit.
much range bound right now on Bitcoin and crypto in general. Little bit of pullback here continues on gold and silver again. Big moves to the upside already. Not surprised to see some profit taking on the open. Do see a little bit of a rebound by the WTI today, Steve, up 1.16%. Space back at it. I see ASTS up 5.28% here today. Nice move up by Constellation Energy, 4.49% here. That's a nice little jump on the cash open. Costco, where Howard missed out when he said to buy it and didn't at 9, waited for 900, got to 903. Wasn't good enough for me back at 952. I missed that one badly. Dollar Tree and Dollar General both having good days today after Dollar Tree did raise their fiscal earnings or fiscal guidance.
AMD up 3.5% too. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, ASML up 4% also. Lam Research up 3.89. I did see at one point Marvell was up pretty nicely too.
Bungie said they repurchased roughly 6.7 million shares during Q3 here.
Oh, wow.
That's BG, right?
They're going to take advantage of
BG now up 11% here.
I was going to say they're going to take advantage of the good news to pump the good news to probably then issue some stock. I'm just kidding. But that would be the play, right? Tick still positive here. Advanced decline 44.79 to the upside. So still nicely moving to the upside here.
Be careful. There's only 500,000 shares only traded hands there. So that's not a lot. It's just. Oh, okay.
Bitcoin back above 112 here. Nice push up in the cash open.
David Ellison may have disclosed a bid for Warner Brothers in the coming days, according to the New York Post. That's interesting.
Netflix has gone slightly red here. All of the other parts of the Mag 7 in the green so far, being led by NVIDIA, still up 166, but off of highs of the day, was up as high as 184.87, back in the 182 range here. And if we look at the S&P, we only have one sector to the downside right now. That's XLV, which is the healthcare sector. Yeah. And tech is leading the way. Chips having a great day so far today. We are pulling off the highs of the day on most of them, though. So definite profit taken across the chips.
Utilities are all pushing to the new high. Yep. Materials and utilities and all that fun stuff. That's a push to things that are not high flying here.
Critical Metal Corp, one of the bigger losers today, down 13%. PNC, Steve, had weaker than expected earnings. They're down 3.45% here this morning.
A regional bank. No trading revenue at PNC Bank, right? So
USAR, which is USA Rare Earth, had been a big flyer, down about 10% here, third day of declines after hitting an all-time high at 43.98, now back at 34.01.
Ticks up 220 here. WTI slipping a bit.
BitDeer running away here at BTDR, the Bitcoin mining company, data center company, up 32% now here at an all-time high. Wow, just absolutely exploding to the upside.
Qs are dropping again. The cent is talking again. Ooh.
Tick still positive.
It is, and look at gold pushing up again here.
Yeah, that's what doesn't, like I said, that's the separation that doesn't make a ton of sense here. But listen, who am I to argue? I need just a little bit of a more push up by silver, and my little option covered call I have will be looking sweet. Bitcoin back below 111 here, 111,700, getting hit here. ASTS giving back some of that early morning profit. Carvana, nice little move up today, 3.44%. Fluence, the energy company, up another 14.21% here. That one's been flying up 194% in the last month.
Bitcoin slipping again here. 111.4 now. There is just massive volatility in the Bitcoin in crypto right now.
All perps. Spot volume hasn't come back enough, so the perps are where all the volume is. It's all speculation versus, the buy the dip people came in Saturday and they bought the dip.
I'm in there. I'm in the dip.
So am I.
I'm still good. Still in the good there.
Morgan Stanley's up 6.55% now. Sunrun up 6.77, moving back to the upside. Hut Digital, the Bitcoin mining company, up 7.33% here today. And NE, which is nanonuclear, up 7.16%. Applied Digital, another Bitcoin mining company, up 6.59% here today. Credo, nice little comeback here, up 6.24%. That stock's still down 14% on the month. Rocket Lab's up 5% here, up 33%.
Treasury Secretary Bessent just says perhaps China's vice commerce minister went rogue. Says China can't be trusted with the global supply chain. Post it right here for everybody there to read. That's negative, folks.
Yes, it is. Hughes bounced back up, though, up 88 basis points here, you know, so the market doesn't seem to care. NVIDIA is taking a little bit of a hit here, though.
Gold is pushing again. Whew.
And again, Besson does say Trump is still expected to meet with President Xi in Korea. Chinese officials said China will cause global chaos if put shipping fees go through. It's just a wacky market. Tick still positive. Advanced decline and moved up to 5,000 here. 5,000 on advanced decline. Dow Jones up 58 basis points, still moving strongly to the upside. SPY has been pegged right around the 75 basis points, and the Qs have dropped off their highs of the day, which were 604.04 at 602.49. When it comes to the Mag 7, Netflix in the red, the rest are in the green, but most of them are off the highs of the day. Banks are getting a little bit of love today, with JP Morgan rebounding after yesterday's drop, now up 2.46%. Bank of America up almost 4% today. Wells Fargo up 2.28%. Morgan Stanley, the big winner, and we've talked about their merger and acquisition division really showing a tremendous growth, up 6.67%. And Goldman Sachs not recovering as well as the others, even with outstanding earnings yesterday, only up 85 basis points. Chips, we're starting to see the first red on any of the chip companies on the day. Texas Instrument just red here. And as we said, everything's come off the highs of the day. ASML was up.
Qs are pushing here a little bit here. 434 back on Tesla here. Can it hold up there is the question. That's what I need to push.
Okay, we see U.S. Trade Representative Greer saying China's restrictions are drafted but not implemented, and that we are expecting Chinese restrictions not to be implemented and go back to prior agreement.
Yeah, I like that.
Want this to be the last time we talk about rare earths with China.
That's very positive news if that's the case, but it's not helping Bitcoin.
Advanced decline still up 5,000. I'm not sure how we got to that from there, but okay. That's where you want to go with it. We'll go with it.
433. Come on, baby. Let's go, Tesla. Let's go. Let's run.
I'll be honest. I don't have a ton of stuff going on otherwise here.
I think we're seeing a run here a little bit. I think.
We'll say a lot of those high-flying stocks this morning have tailed off, especially on the crypto side. So making a little sense here. Like I said, didn't make sense why a lot of them were up so far when crypto is down. But again, crypto is down because the perpetual futures are just causing too much choppiness.
Yeah.
There's plenty of scalping to make money. They don't need to move.
And what's the feeling there in the perps?
They don't care. They're just trading. I mean, you just trade the fringes right now on Bitcoin. You buy at 111, you sell at 113. You just keep rinsing and repeating. You fade off 113 back down to 111, and that's sort of what they're doing right now. So, and open interest is still high on everything. It came down a little bit on Bitcoin, but Ethereum, Solana's, and it's what it is retail is all long, and the institutions or the whales are short. So they're fighting.
Oh my God! Scott Bassett just said Trump needs emergency powers to protect the U.S. economy.
Oh God, yeah, that's what we don't want to hear.
Ouch! That is really not good, folks.
And that just crushed the keys.
So what's underlying that they need to do that?
You said with this Chinese provocation. There you go, provocation. Why it's important for him to have emergency powers.
They want to go to war, don't they?
They don't want to go to war, but they just. Here's the thing: is they're playing poker with our money, and each just keeps on trumping the other one not to. Pun not attended there. It's crazy. You have one side with the Treasury, with the trade representative Greer giving you positive news. Hey, it didn't get drafted. It didn't do this. But then Secretary of Treasury Bassett is saying president needs executive powers because of Chinese provocation. I mean, which is it? Are they not in the same room, in the same place? And yeah, I mean, come on.
Bitcoin out 111 now.
Yeah. So based on my philosophy, you should start to get ready to go long here.
I'm staying long. I think.
Yeah, I mean, well, listen, I always stay long, but we will scalp. In my room, we tried to get into a short. We were just a little off yesterday on the entry, got a little too aggressive, and it would have worked out perfectly.
Hopefully, this is the last. This is the last of the talk of Bassett and Hegseth. They can shut the hell up for a little bit. Let the market.
I don't think they're going to, especially if it seems like it's going to be. No, this seems like it's going to be a tweet analysis day because the president's going to speak at 3, right?
Oh no, Steve Flanagan's in. Bring him in. Get him in here.
I'll let you guys get at it. Hold it 1 second.
Bring my boy in here. Get him in
Flanagan,
here.
I want you to know I'm with you, sir, and I'm sorry. I'm going to step away for a second and let you guys start this.
Oh hell no! The boxing gloves are on, baby.
Come on, it's a beautiful morning.
For those of you who don't know, Steve Flanagan and I are actually dear friends, so it's okay to disagree. It's what makes a market. Steve, talk to us, man. Scott,
Steve
and Hegseth are not on the same page here. The president's on the same page. What the hell is going on in Washington?
Look, I'm gonna do what my father used to teach me, and he would say, boil it down to its simple bottom. Keep everything in life as simple as possible.
Keep it simple.
Posturing that the government is doing right now has accomplished a number of peace deals, has accomplished a number of trade deals. And why wouldn't I then see this through and say that it's going to accomplish a Ukraine-Russia peace deal, and it will accomplish a trade deal between India and then the big kahuna with China. So I look at it as posturing. People call it taco trades. You can call it whatever you want, but it is resulting in positives. And so that's my simple view of things.
Okay, so according to what you just said, and I had to look it up myself, the United States has trade agreements with Australia, Bahrain, Chile, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Israel, Jordan, Morocco, Oman, Panama, Peru, Singapore, and a little bit of the USMCA. That's it.
Okay. Those are
what
all
else?
Those are all positives. Well, because the big ones are coming.
We don't have India. We don't have China. We don't have Japan. We don't have our biggest trade partners with Canada still out. Where are the trade deals?
We have one with the EU. That is massive.
That's a good point. It's not quite there yet. For those of you who would like to know, I'm going to pull up that trade deal there for you can see the link. Are you expecting one with India soon? Is that what we're thinking here?
I'm expecting South Korea imminently. I'm expecting India shortly, and then I am expecting China. I think China at the end of this month, when Trump, Scott Bessent, again, I love this guy. Why? Because he's a market guy.
And he's the adult in the room, Steve.
Yes. And what does he say today? Of all the things he said today, the one that stands here and the most powerful, because when you are in the world and you are all the leaders standing there looking, the big comment is we cannot let the Chinese bureaucrats dictate the global supply of elements like rare earths.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
And that is huge, because if this world system is going to be successful, like everybody is accusing Trump of annihilating, no, we want a global trading system. But if it's going to be fair, which everybody seems to be agreeing with, now it's just getting the negotiations down pat, then you can't say, I got something everybody in the world needs. You can't have it. You can have it. You can't. We cannot allow that. And that is very simple. That's a simple bottom line.
The United States does that.
How so, Steve?
There are countries that we don't do trade with.
Name a couple.
China is one of them. There are things that we don't sell to China.
We trade our trade surplus deficit with China is still in the double-figure billions every month.
True. We don't trade with we obviously don't trade with Russia.
And there's a good reason for that. We're trying to draw them out.
We do have limitations of where we trade and how we trade. We don't have a complete agreement with the USMCA, United States, Canada, and Mexico agreement. There's still issues out with that, right?
Well, yes, but yet we are still running deficits with both of those countries.
We are
every month.
Okay. So then, that's good. That's a good point then. So you're saying that our trade issues are around just the trade itself of where we run deficits with, right? Massive deficits. Is that correct?
That would be correct, because it is not a fair trading system. There are things that United States does produce, high tech, and other things that we're working on. And we simply want a fair and level playing field. So, Steve, I'm going to concentrate this entire year. A narrative has been negative. Anything that happens in the world, there's a negative. For example, let's just look at this. Let's keep it simple.
Okay.
Israel, Hamas have just signed, and many.
Nope. Neither side has signed.
Okay. Many of the Arab nations have coalesced around this purported agreement that will be hammered home very shortly.
Bibi didn't show up in Egypt, and Hamas did not release all the bodies, so we don't have a deal yet there, right?
You see, Steve, but that's pulling out a couple of negatives to what has been proposed and what is on the table.
So you're saying what the proposal is that okay, I got what you're saying now. Okay.
I mean, Iran participated in this. I mean, how good is this news?
That's crazy. I agree with that. Yeah, Iran is part of that deal.
So here's my simple analysis. For this entire year, all I see are protests all around campuses, in colleges.
Yes.
This all over the streets, and they're flying the flags of the Palestinians. And yet here we are on the precipice of a peace deal, which many Arab nations are behind and have pushed forward. Where is the rejoicing? So I'm getting a little bit tired in my age and looking at and trying to boil things down to simple. that if it's going to be simple, if you are going to protest one thing, then applaud the other thing. Then you've got to say, I protested, and guess what? I'm on the precipice of a peace deal. Hallelujah. I was right. Okay, well, let me see that. Get out there. Show me. Which then boils me down to my simple conclusion.
Just real quickly, Steve, before you, I just sold my Tesla there for those of you who are paying attention there. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Steve. Sorry about that.
So I boil this down to a simple, this is just narratives. This is just political.
Okay. I'm with you, Steve, on this. It's a narrative. What narrative are you looking to see out of this White House? What narrative do you need to see that goes, okay, this is an all clear, go invest, go buy, the United States is leading in everything. What is it that the White House is trying to do? Is it deals with all these countries? Is it peace deals in Russia? Is it all the above? Are they're trying to swing for the fences? What is it that people are just not seeing, that people like myself are not seeing?
Okay, so from a guy who's been in the market over 43 years and at the center, right? And a price maker to the marketplace.
Yeah.
I look at price. Price tells me everything.
Right.
So to everything you just said, Steve, why is the markets at all-time highs? Because the price is reading right through all the narratives, and the price is telling you, oh my goodness, if we can stay on this path and get all of the above that you just mentioned.
Okay. Whoa. I like that answer, Steve. So you're saying that people are not investing because of what's happening right now. They're investing because they see a true path from this president, whether that's a peace deals, whether that's employment down the road with AI. Is that what you're saying? That all these narratives that are negative now, they're investing because it's negative now. If it's negative now and the money's going up, then down the road, that's what's going to push the markets up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I agree.
I can put my hat around that thesis. I like that. I think we should make that. I think, Steve, we should get that into Instagram for you. I agree with that. That might be the best answer I think I've heard literally all year.
Now, if we're going to study price, and if price is telling us this is going to happen, then we also need to say, in today's markets where everything is computerized, and this is my specialty, watch how fast things correct when the market suddenly gets a reverberation, when suddenly a quick narrative comes out, such as just the other day. What did we have? A 3-4% drop?
Yeah.
In what? In that move was already well into its place within 5 minutes, 10 minutes of that news blurb that came out. Look at Friday. Look how fast the market came off when Trump tweeted that.
Right.
So that is the market we're in. But if you want to understand my concept and my thesis, then why are we higher than Friday's close? What's changed between Friday and today? Has anything changed? No. The market quickly, the price.
Well, I think what's changed is that Trump did say that that they're working on a deal, right, with China, and that there was no deal on Friday, but now that the Bissett just said a few minutes ago that did the Commerce Secretary go rogue on this and not do what Bissett, so there is some issues about whether or not China was telling the truth or their alternate sides.
Is the crux of the thesis. As Scott Bissett just said, we do not want to decouple from China.
I agree. That's exactly right. I've said this to begin with. Absolutely correct.
Right. So the rest of this is just noise.
So how did he take that part where we don't decouple from China? President says, screw China, your soybeans and all that. How are these two? These are the top, President of the United States and Secretary of Treasury. How do we put these together? Marco Rubio is literally nowhere to be seen. He should be the one dictating the peace, right? He is Secretary of State. Nowhere to be seen.
Understand one thing. This is the times that we are in. None of us have witnessed before this type of negotiating. Okay,
Agreed.
so Therefore, either you have a thesis of investing, not day trading, investing. Either you have a thesis that you can pick your head up and get above the tree level to see the horizon, or you are in the trees and everything is going to change moment to moment, and you're never going to have a clear-cut view of what's going on.
And as you speak that, gold just hit 4,200.
I love gold. I mean, gold's on track for 5,000, and that's not going to be imminent, but that's where it's going. It is a commodity that is in a rare supply, and it is a simple supply and demand.
So you're saying gold is in supply and demand, but normally for us, Steve, gold would be a hedge against a portfolio, correct?
Normally, gold would be a hedge, but in the new world order of where we're going, now we're jumping way into a futuristic.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's talk about this. Is this what your thesis is, that we are creating a new world order?
There is a new world order as far as trade, and it's fairness, and it's more open, and that is a huge positive. But why gold is going up is a different scenario. And that scenario is the only way to get out of debt, which Europe is huge in, United States is huge in, China is massive in, is to reflate the asset values of the world. This is what they did out of 2008, and this is what they are going to do now. They are going to punch gold up. Gold will go close to 5,000 and settle in. And that's going to reflate the entire world. If you just look at the way, if everybody bases a gold system, if everybody has gold as its, why are all the central banks holding gold? A futuristic talk would be to Howard that eventually Bitcoin or crypto currencies, blockchain technology, this is all going to merge in. And gold will be part of that. There may be a world order down the road where you end up with some sort of commodity basket, which gold is a major participant in. This forms a lot of what the BRICS nations are all saying. But this is probably a 5 to 10 year type look. In the immediate term, what I'm looking at is an asset value appreciation, and I'm watching gold as the leader of it.
Asset values, are you talking about also? I mean, one of the things that I've been investing in quite heavily is materials. I think that this is, I've been making huge moves in the materials sector, and it's working out nicely. So this thesis of reevaluating the economy would help with a lot of things. It would help with our debt. It would help. But it hurts inflation, and it hurts in the near term for the next 3 to 4 years, I would say.
Oh, well, therein comes the big equalizer.
Right.
Coming around the corner, what do we have, Steve? What do we talk about every day? We talk about AI.
Yeah.
AI is a massive deflationary impact. You know, I was in New York just after you left.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was talking to a lot of my old friends. And what I was shocked about was the amount of AI that is now working to the desktops of each and every person. And people literally...
And a few years ago, everybody told me I was crazy because AI wouldn't be affecting anything. Yeah, here we are. Yeah.
Yeah, and people were telling me, are you kidding me, Steve? It used to take me 3 hours. Sometimes I'd have to wait overnight or the next day or the next week to get that data so that I could formulate a decision before I met a client. And now I've got it within literally minutes. So think about the deflationary effect of AI on the scenario we're talking about. Yes, inflation is here to stay. It's not going away. We let that genie out of the bottle in 2008 when we turned around and probably through the global community printed $50 trillion to the world's economy. In 2020, out of COVID, was the last such, step on it. And if you don't believe me, just look at your money supply figures.
Yeah, still going up.
So we've let the genie out. Inflation's here to stay. 3% is probably the new 2%. The central banks are going to have to come around to that. How do you combat a 2.5% to 3.5% inflation rate? You've got to have growth. And that's the part, Steve, that I believe and anchor my thesis on. You're going to start getting growth. You're already beginning to see the sprinklings of it in Germany with their plans of expanding their fiscal spending.
And Fed's Mirror now just says that data is looking backwards policy. Now we should be based on where the Fed thinks prices will be a year from now. Sees substantial disinflation coming from housing in the coming months as well. We talked about that with materials and things of that nature. We're seeing that. All right. Well, I love this thesis. I mean, if you got time to stick around, I really want to go with you on this. Let's keep it going, because I think this is important for people to understand. When you look at the economy in general, right? This morning, the numbers came out. 40% of households, Steve, 40% of U.S. households own at least one share of stock. Okay, there they are. But concentrated out of that 10% or the 40%, 10% of that is where most of the money is concentrated in. 10% of the households own 40% of the wealth. I mean, that's just like 90% of the wealth is owned in 10%. So congratulations, Steve. We're in the top 10%. Is there becoming this massive separation between the haves and the have-nots at a higher rate than we've had in the past? Because the economy seems to be working for us. It's not working for everybody.
I mean, I've followed that barometer for 20 plus years, and it's been growing and growing and growing. In this type of new world order that I'm talking about, this is precisely what needs to be corrected. More people need to share in the global wealth. We need to pick up the bottom part of that income structure. I don't know what that means. Does that mean, as many people will float a universal income? There's a lot of ideas out there, but the most important part is that a great nation such as United States needs to make sure that everybody is participating, which means safety nets need to be in place for those that do need it. And that's not a Republican Democrat thing. That's not a political divide. That's just doing what's right. And I do believe, Steve, your point is very well taken. I saw a fact that U.S. home sales are at a 25-year low.
Yeah.
So when I see, Scott Bessent saying the president needs more presidential executive powers, watch out for some sort of home executive order where they may allow people.
But didn't you cringe when you heard that, though?
Yeah, I do. There's no question. I'm a Reagan, back from your days as well. And I don't want a too big a government. But then again, I've looked around the world throughout my career, and I see the success in Japan, the success in Europe, the success everywhere in the world. And we're the only nation in the world that says, no, government can't be involved in that. But yet we have been. Our theory has been we can't allow the government involved in directing and picking winners and losers. That's been the narrative. So what we do is we helicopter money. We go into, sectors and we just drop in federal money. And then we find out if we take the Obama era, that was a big one in green technology. And I'll take that from my lesson learned. Solyndra, I went heavy into Solyndra and lost everything on a bankruptcy. But yet they were given massive amounts of government money. So maybe that policy no longer is viable. Maybe the better one is to go in and be able to sit at the table as a shareholder. Maybe.
Are you advising people to buy shares of companies to have a seat at the table? Is that you're saying?
With this rare earth thing, it makes political. You're heavy into the rare earth sector, I think, with mining and domestic mining. Why not? I mean, that is an area that the United States sees as a risk to its growth and its future. So therefore, domestic miners, which there are plenty of them, they're just behind.
My thought behind the miners is that if gold prices and just hit another new high, 42.11 right now, is that as those miners run out to go mine more gold, they're going to find more copper. You know, if you have a gold mine, you got a copper mine, right? If you got a copper mine, you got a gold mine, right? We know that. I think you're going to find that these companies like John Deere and always that everybody's going to go out and run out in their backyard and go start digging their backyard up. I mean, to find whatever they can find in their backyard, right? Is that going to be another place where people start to? I mean, we had in the 1880s, right, the gold rush. Are we going to see another gold rush like this running out? Because it's what's interesting, Steve, and I just read this article, and I'll give you a second to be able to pull this up. But this guy won $2 billion in the lottery, and decides he's going to buy up all the land around him. That's his thing. He's going to buy land. Biggest owner of land, private owner of land is Bill Gates. Second biggest owner of land is Microsoft. And now you've got McDonald's. You got major companies now that own this land too. Are we missing the part on real estate? I mean, it seems to me that if people can't participate in the stock market, 60% of Americans aren't participating in the stock market. Where are they going to participate in order to catch up with this wealth? Are they going to start buying stock? Are they going to start buying? Okay, yeah. So I'll leave it at that to you.
Well, if these guys are all buying up real estate and have the largest portfolios in real estate, and here we are at a 25-year low in new home sales, then what does that tell you?
I mean, I'm buying mutual funds in real estate right now while we're talking, Steve. I mean, I'm loving this. This is exactly what I've done. I for those of you who don't know, I just bought the Barron Select FDS Real Estate, BREFX. I just bought that. Obviously, we don't tell anybody what to buy, and this is what I bought. And this is the symbol that I bought, the mutual fund. This is why we're here, right? Is to talk about what's really going on in the world, and I like this. I thought real estate for a while is down. It's been beaten up, especially, and I think it could turn around here.
It's very possible, Steve. And again, I'll underscore that with what I said earlier. If the inflation is out of the genie is out of the bottle.
You say that Fed's mirror just says I expect to get the 2% inflation on the headline PCE in a year and a half. They agree with you, Steve. The Fed agrees with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, you can maybe get close to 2%. Maybe this is this brief period of time, but inflation is here. It's not going away. That genie is out of the bottle. And for those, why do I say that? For any of our viewers that are going, what's he talking about? Well, okay, the Fed raised interest rates. The prime rate was over 20% when Paul Volcker decided to whip inflation now. Win.
You're going to mention Volcker. Okay, let's talk about Volcker then. Volcker came in. Everybody loved Volcker. Volcker went out. I don't think anybody liked Volcker when he left, right? Why? Can you explain the Volcker rule and the Volcker what happened during that time frame?
Well, inflation was running out. And why did inflation run out? Because the United States first time was really experimenting with very heavy government expenditures.
Right.
And when the government spends money that it doesn't have, it typically will root itself in inflation. And in that particular time, it was the Vietnam War. And it was a lot of things out of the 60s where the government stepped in and began spending a lot of money. We didn't have it. The taxes weren't like they were today. So inflation started to run away on the upside. Don't forget, we had the oil embargo too, where oil prices.
You mentioned the Vietnam War, right? So is this what Trump is trying to push us to?
No, I don't think war is any part of this. This is a man who has deep beliefs. And so you're on one side of the aisle or the other side of the aisle. Oh, so Steve, you must be a Trump guy. Okay, that's what you may think by that comment. Okay. I'll just simply say, again, boil it down to simple. Watch his reactions with people when there's tragic events. Okay? Do you see this man goes out and hugs?
He does.
Holds tight.
He does.
That's how I read things. I read things simply. I look at your actions.
Right.
So I think the man is deeply committed to no war. I don't think that death through wars is something that this man lives very nice with. So I do see him as a peace, and I take him by his actions. He is attempting, whether we have peace, he is attempting to get peace throughout the world. And he's bringing in others to help. And the more people involved in a peace process, the more it sticks. So let's see what happens in Russia. Zelensky's coming to Washington on Friday.
Yeah, love that.
Russia has just about taken out its entire energy, in the last 2 weeks with its bombing.
Yeah.
I would think Zelensky is coming saying, let me use your cruise missiles. And the United States will be like, okay, if you use cruise missiles, then it's World War III.
Tomahawk cruise missiles are on the way to Ukraine.
Well, that's the big one that Putin's going to have to figure out. Personally, I think it's all over what land Zelensky gives up, and he probably loses his political career in doing so. But I think he's going to have to come to that grip that the Ukraine will need to yield something, and the United States will offer defense along a NATO-style defense to the Ukraine so that Ukraine can get back on its feet. And they'll be obviously giving funds to the Ukraine to rebuild. But I think Russia's got to walk away with something here. And again, building on my New World Order, I think Russia wants desperately to participate somehow in this world order, as they do have quite a bit of natural resources.
Are you saying, and I love this when I love this when you talk about the New World Order. The last time that, and of course, neither one of us were alive when the New World Order started to change, and that was Axis and Allies during World War II. Germany setting the pace there. You could argue, I guess, that the domino effect with communism in the Southeast Asia area. Is this what we're looking at, Steve? Are we looking at where the world's splitting apart and we're choosing sides?
Okay, to the viewers, understand this. We are still cleaning up the effects of that New World Order that was attempted after World War II. Before Steve and I were here, we are still taking care of ancient battles that have gone on all throughout the world. Yeah.
Germany. Still there. Right. And you can always tell that because our troops are still there, right? We don't trust them, right? Is this a new world order coming then this fast?
I think so, Steve, and I think it's going to be anchored and ushered in with this brand new technology. Technology is not just United States. Anybody in the world. Let's just take some of these technology advances. We are in the process of putting satellites up in the air that will be able to bring the internet to every single corner of the world.
Yep.
Now, that's Elon Musk. He's doing that. Now, there's is it Amazon or is it Meta?
Bezos.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just assume if we bring the internet to every corner of the world, how many Einsteins are out there yet to be discovered?
Tons of them.
Why would technology be a U.S. thing? It will be something that everybody in the world.
And we have a problem because we don't want to allow those Einsteins in those countries to come to our country.
Well, at the moment, that's not okay, you're right. That is something that we're dealing with immigration. They're going to have to sort that subject out as well. But in order to usher in technology, which is coming on strong and fast, and oh my goodness, what happens when quantum computing jumps in? That may be 3 to 4 years away from us. But
big one is coming, yes.
How can you have all that in a world that presently exists? It's just not going to work. Somebody's going to use something against the other guy. Now, that may end up happening anyway. But in order for everybody to participate and advance themselves, and in order for that wealth effect to spread, not just in the United States between haves and have-nots, but throughout the world. So what am I doing here? I'm taking a lot of issues that a lot of people on one side of the aisle always echo, But I'm taking, you've got to be, if you're looking at this new world order, you've got to look at it from a point of view. It has to spread to all, because otherwise war is something that will be out there. So I do see a growing chance that this is a very positive event.
Okay.
And that's why, I chimed in this morning. You could throw a dart in a dark room and you will hit a negative narrative that's out there today. It's hard to really hit a positive.
I'm going to let you have the last word here, Steve. Final thoughts.
Okay, let's bring it to foreign exchange. The dollar index coming off its highs. I have talked about we're going higher, but the narrative in the world is that you sell the US dollar, sell it hard. That's beginning to wane. We're presently around 98, 90, maybe 85. Last week's close was 98.85. What a great level to go long here with a tiny stop loss. Put a 20-point stop loss on it. The upside, I think the high was 99.56. I am looking for an eventual test of around 100.25 in the near term. So, you could be very tight with your risk management here. I do like the dollar. I do like my thesis. I'm sticking with it, and I'm sticking with the U.S. equity market. You want to be able to buy the dips, and that's everything.
Buy the dips.
Stay
Flanagan said, buy the dips.
Discipline and timing are your keys.
There it is. Flan says buy the dips. There it is. I'm going to put it out there for everybody to see. That's it. Steve Flanagan, we'll see you back here on Friday, my man. Love you.
Okay.
See you, bro.
Yep.